What's up, squad? It's your Squid, aka the Anxious Squid, here at Anxious Squid Productions. I figured it's been a day or two since I uploaded a reactions video, so why not? This one will go into all of the different sports playlists, because it's a top 10 sports scandals. I figured I'd just do an overarching one to hit all the playlists, because I want to organise how the playlists look and that'll make it easier. But yeah, before we get into it, I just want to give a big shout out to my patrons. They're awesome. You could be one of them and you could be awesome as well. You probably are already awesome. Show me that you're awesome by joining the patrons. That'd be sick on Patreon. There's a link in the description. But also, as of today, I edited and created a whole bunch of different alternative logos for each of the reactions playlists. So if you're into merch, check out these logos. Those logos could be on merch that you buy. Go and check it out. The link's in my description for that as well. So yeah, potentially become a patron, potentially buy some merch. If you don't want to give me any of your money, that's fine. Let's get into the reaction. Let's do it. Thanks for tuning back in, guys. I really do have to do something with that title screen to get the XFL logo out of there. RIP XFL. But yeah, top 10 sports scandals. Let's get into it, shall we? Turn this all the way up. I'm sure Lance Armstrong's going to be in there.
This is all about the insider action outside the game.
Oh, what's going on there?
Keeping another team's signals or practice, or that's against the.
My top 3, right, and I don't know when this video was made actually, so, there might be some new ones in there, but obviously OJ is going to be a feature, I think. There's going to be the, whatever I just said then, about, that's fallen out of my brain, like, within the space of 30 seconds, but yeah, OJ, gambling or whatever for MJ, I don't know, maybe not, but yeah, Lance Armstrong, that's the one I just said, Lance Armstrong, cheating and whatnot, that'll be there as well, I reckon.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our
video is not sponsored by Budweiser,
scandals.
So it could be.
Illustrated says it's uncovered Almonte's real birth certificate. It shows Almonte was born on April 7th, 1987.
All right.
For this list, we're focusing on scandals in the sports world that contain elements of planning, concealing, or even conspiracy.
There was only one club in the league could fit him in the salary cap. It was the Melbourne Storm.
And we're excluding random acts or behaviors that reflect poorly on only one individual.
What is it? Tonya Harding hitting
Number
that
10,
chick or whatever her name was?
NFL concussions.
Tells the whole story when you hear the sound of it on this punt return.
Ooh, ouch.
For years,
I thought it was that first one.
a badge of honor for ex-NFL players to boast about the violent nature of their sport. But the narrative took a dark turn once retired athletes began experiencing symptoms of CTE.
Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't know what CTE was, did they?
The football world has been rocked this week by the sad death of a former star.
In 2011, Dave Lewison took his own life and requested that his brain be studied for trauma. And just 1 year later, Junior Seau also committed suicide and was confirmed to be suffering from CTE after a post-mortem examination.
That's rough.
The NFL continues to adopt new regulations along with the NHL and their enforcer issue. But off-the-field problems...
That shoots me that. Right there. Like, I mean, that's brutal. Domestic violence. Yeah, maybe you should give some fucks about that, without a doubt. But, like, the enforcer problem in the NHL, more people get concussions from slipping on their skates and hitting their head on the fucking ice than anyone punching them in the face in hockey. That's such that's the low-hanging fruit, you know what I mean? Like, concussions are a thing in hockey, but it's got nothing to fucking do with the goons, you know what I mean? Like, leave them alone, let them earn their money.
The Ray Rice case
Jesus.
continue to fuel the fire.
Junior Seau died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Some speculated that he did so to preserve his brain. A brain, it turns out, that was damaged by the game he loved.
Number 9, Deflategate.
However, there is
this is Tom. All right.
Where?
Regardless of whether you're pro Tom Brady or a steadfast hater, Deflategate undoubtedly caused a storm of selective outrage in 2015.
After this came out, there were a bunch of quarterbacks who said, yeah, we all did this. Yes, it was against the rules, but this is something we all did.
It all began during the AFC Championship game when officials discovered that official game balls had been deflated, thus allowing Brady to get the upper hand.
Well, I mean,
this did not come out of thin air, pardon the pun. This did not come out of the NFL's own theory about the balls. It came from the Colts. It came from perhaps other teams.
2 weeks later, the New England Patriots won another Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's like... I mean, I don't know how I feel about that, you know what I mean? Like, because, yeah, I suppose by the letter of the law it's cheating and stuff, but it's not at the same time because you were allowed to field the ball, right? Like, I mean, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Is that gamesmanship?
Concluded it was, quote, probable that Brady was complicit.
I don't have really any reaction to our owner commented on it yesterday.
Deflategate came over 7 years after another New England Patriots controversy known as Spygate, which means that somebody has some explaining to do, whomever that may be.
Is the Super Bowl tainted? Should there be
What do you guys think?
Number 8.
Good answer. Good answer.
And Penn State.
These allegations are false. I didn't do those things.
After 61 years with Penn State, you could say that Joe Paterno had a bit of clout on campus.
We drove
2 hours to get here, just for this, just to say goodbye.
But amid a disturbing sexual abuse scandal involving former assistant coach Jerry Sandusky, Paterno's legacy was forever tarnished, and he passed away just 2 months after being fired.
Well, that's rough.
If you know the details, then you already know just how heartbreaking this story is for all involved.
Aaron Fisher was the first to accuse Sandusky of being a monster.
In fact, when Sandusky was convicted, the judge intentionally avoided an abstract sentence to reinforce the idea that 30 to 60 years in jail had, quote, the unmistakable impact of saying clearly for the rest of your life.
A community builder who founded a charity to work with at-risk kids. A position prosecutors now say Sandusky used as a hunting ground for vulnerable victims.
Great.
Number 7, the Melbourne Storm salary cap.
I hate that shit. I can't believe Melbourne Storm. Like, I didn't realise Watch Mojo were Australian. I guess they are, or I guess they're not. I'll do some Googling and stuff. I'm still reeling about that fucking pedo. What a scumbag. What a cunt. What a fucking horrible human being. Like, fucking, Hope you're being tortured fucking wherever you are now, you know. I hope that the atheists are wrong and that there's, you know, it's not just unenduring nothingness for that prick. I hope he's getting what came to him. But, I mean, she did say it was a sad story for all involved. Maybe, you know, maybe he's not a sick fuck, but I'm not reserving judgment, you know what I mean? I'm judging him as one at the minute. But I remember this was the Melbourne Storm. Melbourne Storm, they were cheating the salary cap for like 4 years or something. They were over the cap. I mean, how the fuck does anyone in any sport have a team that can rort the salary cap for half a decade? Fuck knows, right? Like, and they were in a, you know, it's basically like the Arizona Coyotes rorting the salary cap in the NHL, because like Melbourne is AFL Central, you know, and there's a bit of cross-code rivalry between rugby, which is what this is, and Aussie rules, which is I'm going to have a different playlist for. I should tell you about that at the end of the video. But yeah, it was in the we're not paying attention to rugby league region of the country, and they were one of the best teams in the history of the game, and they won 4 premierships or whatever. I don't think they actually won 4, but they were right up there for a very many years. And it turns out they were, rotting the salary cap.
Those were
for vulnerable victims.
Number 7, the Melbourne Storm salary cap breach. We had some rats in our ranks. Those were the words of Melbourne Storm owner John Hartigan after his team was involved in the biggest scandal in Australian sports history.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
The last few weeks it's come to light that the Storm has engaged in a long-term...
You know, the gang rape by the Canterbury Bulldogs, maybe, just throwing that out there. The fucking...
system of operating what...
Involved in the biggest scandal in Australian sports.
Cunt's just got some money under the table. I don't know if that's the biggest scandal in the history.
Light that the Storm has engaged in a long-term system of operating what might conveniently be called 2 sets of books.
The rugby squad had won premierships both in 2007 and in 2009.
Premiership.
And let's just say that a few perks were offered beyond the usual contract negotiations.
This club is a great club. It's a strong club. It's a very proud club.
Some players were given under-the-table benefits that doubled their official contracts, and others received 30 large for home and entertainment expenses.
The secret files outlining the under-the-table...
Why? The thing that always blew my mind, right? Like, if you're going to go off the books, go off the fucking books. What are you keeping a second book for? That's just, like... You're asking to get in... Anyway, you're asking to get caught at that point. Like, just...
well away from the players' legitimate contracts.
In the end, Melbourne continued to win, but only after the largest sanctions in league history and a stripping of their titles.
Yep. The penalty will be the stripping of 3 minor premierships and 2 premierships.
So minor premiership is when you finish the year at the end on top of the table.
$1.1 million.
Premiership is after the playoffs.
A fine of $500,000.
Number 6.
That was deferred.
Tim Donaghy and the 2007 NBA betting scandal.
His father had been a respected ref in college basketball. Tim followed in his footsteps and went even further, making it to the NBA. But Tim said betting was more powerful than all of that.
We all know somebody who thinks the NBA is rigged. And after former basketball referee Tim Donaghy was convicted of fixing games, the conspiracy theorists snickered with laughter.
Unfortunate.
Betting on the NBA give you a higher high than betting on other sports?
I think it gave me a higher high because I was able to predict the outcome of the games.
From 2005 to 2007, Donaghy bet thousands of dollars on games he personally officiated.
Oh, I was about to say, like, was he making money off his own games, or was he just betting and because he had an intricate knowledge of the sport? Like, you can't bet on your own games, son. That sort of pulls the blanket down underneath you, doesn't it? Like, you're trying to stand on the moral high ground, and the moral high ground just goes, yeah, nah, see you later, mate, and skedaddles off to a different spot, because...
And later received kickbacks from low-level mafia figures.
Kickbacks from the mob, alright.
2004 Indiana-Detroit game that resulted in one of the darkest moments in league history.
Oh, I've been told to look into that.
Known as the Malice in the Palace.
I'm gonna look into that,
Donaghy was one sketchy ref, and after serving 11 months in prison, he naturally wrote a book about his experiences.
Isn't that profiting from profiteering?
Is what excites you.
Number 5.
Surely that's illegal. Isn't that illegal? Can't you not profit from a crime? Like, I thought that... Anyway, I've spoken way too long in this video and we're only halfway through, but, like, I was fairly certain that that's illegal, you know? Like...
doping allegations.
There is a time gap, but the man in yellow is running at him with that usual determination.
He was the golden boy of cycling. At least until he began throwing everyone under his wheels.
Remember those fucking wristbands that he had? Oh my god.
In one of the most astonishing cases of egocentric behavior the sports world has ever seen, Lance Armstrong furiously denied using performance-enhancing drugs after winning the Tour de France from 1999 to 2005.
There's 280 pages of medical records. Constant interactions with doctors and nurses and specialists, never once mentioned.
It was hard.
How do you do that? Like, how do you like fucking? You gotta either be one of the dumbest cunts in the world or one of the ballsiest, and we know he's not one of the ballsiest because the cunt's only got one nut, right? But like. That was a cheap joke as well, but it came to me, and you know how I roll. But yeah, like I just like to have the fucking chutzpah to fucking get up on national television and with indignation say, "Oh, I've taken heaps of medicals. There's no record of me cheat." Like when you're that level of a cheater, like fucking
survivor of testicular cancer and founder of the Livestrong Foundation. But the growing amount of evidence became too much to ignore.
I told her to go wherever she wants. Her meaning me. And I'll answer the questions directly, honestly, and candidly.
Armstrong ultimately confessed to Oprah, and even that seemed like yet another performance.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Number 4.
There we go.
2002 Winter Olympic bid scandal.
There are allegations the city won the Winter Games for the year 2002 by bribing some members of the International Olympic Committee.
Every 4 years, the Winter Olympics showcase the greatest athletes in the world. And it's also a time for corrupt benefactors to admire their illegal purchases.
Look at all that fucking dirty money. Look at, like, watch it. There's got to be some, like, that's the Italian mafia, there's the Japanese Yakuza, there's the fucking, you know what I mean? Like, in the Olympics, like, it's all dirty money, innit?
No one had the courage to say, well, here's the ledger, here's what happened, and now we do.
In 1995, Salt Lake City was selected to host the 2002 games. And 3 years later, the Salt Lake City Organizing Committee was suspiciously protective of their financial documents when pressed by reporters.
As an athlete, you're training your whole life for that one moment at the Olympics.
But America's Winter Olympics were mired in scandal and deficits.
It was almost like they didn't want people to know that numerous members of the International Olympic Committee were given political contributions, tuition money, and millions upon millions of dollars.
Accusations that Salt Lake City had bribed some
some IOC members with cash gifts, possibly even the services of prostitutes, so it could get the 2002 games.
You broke our heart.
Yeah, let me buy you a hooker. Give me the Olympics.
Sabotaged the 2002 Paris figure skating.
Fuck, we're weird as a species, aren't we? Like,
they won that program. There's not a doubt with anyone in the place except for maybe a few judges.
Number 3, the Black Sox Scandal.
Shoeless Joe Jackson, one of baseball's all-time greats.
Okay. Any true baseball fan knows the name Shoeless Joe Jackson.
I've heard it, Shoeless Joe.
Sox Scandal ends his career.
He was the centerpiece of the 1919 Black Sox Scandal, where players were accused of throwing the World Series and banned from baseball for life.
Yeah.
Of course, Shoeless Joe was also a central figure in the 1989 film Field of Dreams.
Getting thrown out of baseball was like having part of me amputated.
What most people don't realize, unfortunately, is that he most likely wasn't involved in the scandal at all. And the available evidence supports such a conclusion. Even so, the fact remains that America's favorite pastime was undoubtedly fixed. And a classic phrase was born. Say it ain't so, Joe.
Shoeless Joe Jackson died in 1951, and 63 years later is still banned from baseball.
Number 2, the MLB Steroid
Scandal.
Scandal.
That's rough.
There it is.
Alright, this would be a good way to see it. People have told me, asked me how I feel about the steroid scandal, and I'm like, I don't know, what was it?
For nearly 40 years, an unassuming man named Roger Maris held the Major League Baseball single-season home run record. But in the mid-90s, a new trend emerged: juicing.
Some thought the ball itself was juiced, and that's why more and more people were coming to the ballpark, but home run numbers were just skyrocketing.
However, most fans didn't fully realize the extent of the steroid problem.
They really were like cartoon figures, like Supermen, with these bulging biceps, and they just sucked us in.
Mark McGwire hit 70 homers in '98, and 3 years later, Barry Bonds set the existing, quote, record with 73.
Bang. I mean, you still gotta have the timing and finesse to hit it, don't you? Like, it's just because you've been...
It was indeed an exciting
you got the miracle muscle in a fucking can or whatever, like...
The game was tarnished forever.
Steroids on
Is it though? Like, I don't know. Like, part of me, like, I mean, whenever it comes to performance-enhancing drugs, we could add this conversation at the Lance Armstrong point in the video as well, but, like, as far as I'm concerned, there comes a point where sometimes you just want everyone to be juiced. Go out there and show me these fucking freaks going up against each other, Like, this person can have as many performance-enhancing drugs as they want. The other person can have as many fucking PEDs as they want as well. And just have at it, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if everyone was juicing, then the pitcher's probably juicing as well. Pitcher's probably got on the roids, and so he's throwing faster than he would be. And old mates, that makes it harder to connect to the ball. Sure, he's hitting it further because he's fucking, got in a bit of it, but he's still got to fucking hit the thing, right? Like, you can't inject fucking agility. You can't inject fucking hand-eye coordination. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how I feel about that one. I'd have had that one later, like earlier in the list, higher up in the list, if that makes sense.
Help you that much physically, and what they give you can take away somewhere else, and I don't want that.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick,
fair enough.
Here are a few honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions.
No signals up into these 3 are definitely...
Oh yeah, Pakistan cricket, yep. Cheats. Pretty much consistently as well. No offence to anyone that's watching this that's a Pakistan cricket fan, but... It was a good 10-year period, right, where you guys fucking cheated 3 or 4 times.
Irresponsible.
That's not a sports scandal.
Behavior.
See, I don't understand that either. Like, when someone famous, right, like a big famous actor or a fucking sports star or something, cheats on their missus, and like, yeah, that's horrible. That's a bad thing to do to your missus. But you don't need to apologise to me, cunt. You didn't do anything to me. You didn't do anything to your sports fans. You know what I mean? Like, apologise to your fucking wife. You don't have to have a press conference to tell your wife you were a shit bloke. You know what I mean? Like, anyway. It's got nothing to do with me. Like,
to go out there and to have in your mind, you want to take somebody's career out. I mean, you got to look at it as, people are trying to feed their family.
I don't know what that was.
However, the Spanish have a secret advantage.
Oh yeah, that was that. They were disabled.
Perfectly normal, putting it on in the hope of winning gold.
Number 1. The 2015 FIFA corruption case.
Never heard of it.
We are here to announce the unsealing of charges and the arrest of individuals as part of our long-running investigation into bribery and corruption in the world of organized soccer.
All hell broke loose in May of 2015 when U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch unveiled an intricate bribing scheme involving FIFA executives and corrupt officials.
They did this over and over.
In fact, FIFA VP Jack Warner even tried to defend himself by citing a satirical news article by The Onion.
If the FIFA is so bad, why is it the USA wants to keep the FIFA World Cup?
As we've seen with the 2002 Olympics, any event can be bought. And while this scandal may not come as a big surprise to skeptics, the grand scale of the entire cover-up is simply astounding. We are truly living in a world of magnificent bastards.
What a funny
criminal activity financed an opulent lifestyle that included a luxury apartment in New York's Trump Tower for the use of his cats.
Well, there you go.
Do you agree with
our list? The use of his cats. Alright.
Well, yeah, I could see how they would have won.
What do you think is the most memorable sports scandal?
In my mind, it wasn't inappropriate behavior.
For more mind-blowing top 10s published every day.
In my mind, it wasn't inappropriate. Oh, was he saying that he was in love with the kids or some shit? Like,
here online.
Yeah, that one leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Like, obviously, if he thought he was like in a relationship with them or something, like he clearly doesn't understand informed consent with people in positions of powers and in position of power and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's a rough go. I'll have to look into that one further, or you guys can just let me know in the comments. I don't want to be Googling that shit. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, these are my Patreon members, patrons even. These are my patrons. You could be one of my patrons as well. Help me out. That'd be awesome. Every dollar I get from you guys is a dollar I can spend, which is how economics works. I know you know that. So yeah, do me a solid. As I said at the start of the video as well, these are all like alternative logos for the different playlists that I do and the different sports reactions that I do and stuff as well. So if you like the look of one of those logos, if your favorite, for example, is NASCAR and you want one of those logos, then check out my Redbubble. There's a link in the description. I get a kickback from anything you buy on there or anything like that. So yeah, that would be awesome. These are the lists of players that I'm going to look into moving forward. I've got football up first, then I've got basketball, where I've got players to do and players in the done pile as well. Then I've got football. I think I already said football. So football, basketball, baseball. I'll just put them up, flashing them in there and all that sort of stuff. I won't try and say them in order because I've forgotten about what I've said already, which is all good and dandy and whatnot. But yeah, let me know what you want me to watch and let me know what you want me to react to in the comments section below, and we'll get right into it. Tomorrow I'm going to have baseball videos for you. The day after that I'll have hockey videos for you. The day after that I'll probably have some NFL football videos for you. And, we'll just surprise you from there on, you know what I mean? So yeah, do me a solid. Do everything I said to do. Hit like on the video because it means more people will see it. And yeah, keep watching my content. You're the best. I'll see you when I look at you. You'll see me when you look at me. Thanks for watching.